You know it's bad for Donald Trump and the MAGA movement when even Marjorie Taylor Greene is questioning the president's mental capabilities and demanding that he be removed from office. Here's MTG on CNN last night saying that Trump has to be removed by the 25th Amendment. Before I hit play, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, engage with this video. The more that you do that, the more that we can build an independent media company that can take our country back from Trump and these MAGA hacks.
And former Congresswoman Greene, you posted about that after the president had made that threat. He went off on Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, several people who have been pretty big champions of his in the past, and he also went after you. You responded to that post about a whole civilization will die with, in all caps, 25th Amendment and 3 exclamation points. Do you really think that the president should be removed from office?
I think we have to truly question the mental stability of any president that threatens to wipe out an entire civilization of people. That would include all the innocent people in that country that have nothing to do with the war, especially after President Trump said this was about freeing the Iranian people from the Iranian regime. So for him to call to wipe out an entire civilization of people, it is absolutely wrong. But
let's just cut it off there because I want to talk a little bit about Marjorie Taylor Greene here, because there are a lot of people in the progressive movement who give her credit because she gave up her career, quote unquote. And I don't think that that's quite right. Marjorie Taylor Greene has known who Donald Trump was this entire time. I don't buy the idea that she's a true believer. And so I appreciate that in this moment, MTG is willing to question Donald Trump's mental stability as he does things like threaten to annihilate the Iranian people, as he creates a panic in this country about him using nuclear weapons to kill 90 million Iranians, which I think the vast majority of people, even including inside Donald Trump's own White House and within his own movement, would be horrified by. I appreciate that. But where was the concern about Donald Trump's mental capabilities during the 2024 presidential election? Because the media was hyper fixated on Joe Biden, and in some ways for good reason. There were signs of mental decline with Joe Biden. They're not nearly as bad, in my opinion, as Donald Trump, who frequently falls asleep all the time, who says things, can't remember things, doesn't know where he is. Hell, the other day he implied that he was the one who ordered the assassination of Osama bin Laden, for crying out loud. This is a president who's unwell, and I think that while I appreciate MTG's voice in this moment, I think what you see is a lot of these MAGA influencers and a lot of these MAGA politicians, they want to create excuses to get around their own responsibility for electing this man in the first place. It's why you see Tucker Carlson say that this isn't the man I voted for. Donald Trump's been possessed by a demon. It's why you see people taking away Trump's agency in this Iran war and blaming it all on Bibi Netanyahu. Don't get me wrong, Netanyahu is absolutely responsible for this war in Iran. He's clearly manipulated Donald Trump into doing this, but Trump is the president of the United States. He has agency, he has power. The mental decline thing is very, very real, but Donald Trump has always been a mad dog who's never believed in anything, who has manipulated his way through every ring, through his political career to ascend to power so that he could put money in his back pocket. That was true during his first term in 2016. That was true during the 2020 presidential campaign that he lost, even if people like MTG won't admit that he lost. And it's true right now. And so Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to own up to that. And again, I'm willing to accept her help in this moment. I really am. I'm willing to accept the help of anybody that's going to stand up to this president, that's going to try to end this madness in this country, but take your responsibility. The second thing I want to add here is that while it's good to call for Donald Trump to be removed by the 25th Amendment, it is not at this moment a credible pathway to removing the president, all right? He is in office. He is entrenched. Barring his death, he's likely going to be there in 2.5 years, as unfortunate as that is. And I think we have to hunker down and understand that this president is out of control and his cabinet members are never going to remove him by the 25th Amendment. Every single one of them is like a kid in a candy store. They are stealing from the American taxpayers. They are doing favors for their friends. They've basically got get out of jail free cards because Donald Trump is promising to pardon every single person who comes within his orbit at the end of his presidential term. And they better pray that he doesn't die, because I don't think J.D. Vance is going to be as forgiving for them, because he's going to have to run for re-election again when Trump won't, if he ascends to the presidency because of Trump's health. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. Like, this is a battle for the soul of the nation, not to quote unquote Joe Biden for a second, but we have to be prepared for that. And I think it's become a crutch for a lot of these politicians to get attention, to call for Trump's removal. And I want him removed. Don't get me wrong. I'd be happy to see him removed by the 25th Amendment. I'd be happy to see him removed by impeachment. But right now, those are not options. They're not. We got to hunker down and win some goddamn elections if we're going to take this country back and get one hand back on the wheel for sanity. And I want to play you a second clip from MTG's interview on CNN because she's here talking with Ro Khanna about their potential alliance on economic populism. And I will give Marjorie Taylor Greene a fair amount of credit here to start to talk about how we can actually fix our economy. But in this clip, she was asked about the AI-generated image that Donald Trump posted of himself as Jesus Christ and the lie that he told trying to weasel his way out of it.
I have to ask you if you believe that the president thought he was depicting himself as a doctor, not Jesus, in that post.
No, absolutely not. I thought that was blasphemy. As a Christian, I was very offended. And a doctor, President Trump is not a doctor. And that picture had him in a robe, as Jesus is often portrayed, with light coming out of his hand.
I'll stop there for now because this is one of the most absurd lies that I think Donald Trump has ever told, which is really saying something, okay? In a 24-hour period, the president of the United States thought it was appropriate to offend 1/5 of every American because that's how many people are Catholic in this country. He decided to attack Pope Leo. Why? Because Pope Leo says things like, blessed are the peacemakers, that war is wrong, that we shouldn't be blowing up children's schools in Iran. And Donald Trump lashed out at him. Donald Trump not only lashed out at him, he accused Pope Leo of being weak on crime, which I don't even know what the hell that means. It's just a totally insane thing for him to do. And then he followed it up with this offensive, blasphemous meme of himself as Jesus Christ. Then he lied to the American people and said, oh, I don't know why the media is so upset about this. I was portraying myself as a doctor. No, he wasn't. And nobody believes that. I don't even know who that lie is for because even his MAGA influencers are hesitant to sell that one because it's so undeniably stupid. And I think there's either one of two things going on here. Either Donald Trump is a worse liar than I think he is, or again, to his mental capabilities for a second, he doesn't actually remember what he posted. I think it's entirely possible that in the middle of the night, Donald Trump was sitting on the toilet, posting on Truth Social, and he does not remember the things that he says. And I think there was a time when a actually mentally capable Donald Trump would play that shell game of I'm going to say crazy things to get attention, and that time is perhaps long gone. I think the president of the United States is basically a rabid dog with dementia up against a wall, saying and just hurling out whatever he can. I don't think he remembers that he promised to annihilate the people of Iran. I don't think he remembers posting this AI-generated meme. I don't. And that's why he should be removed. If we lived in a world with a functioning democracy, where there were people with courage and conviction in power, they would remove him right now. Unfortunately, that would mean that J.D. Vance would likely be president, and I don't want that either. But if we had people with some goddamn conviction, they would kick his ass out of office right now because he's not mentally fit. And it's one thing to have an 80-something-year-old member of Congress who doesn't know their name or where they are half the time, and that's scary and dangerous in its own right. And it's a huge problem inside both the Democratic and Republican parties right now. It's another thing when that person has access to the nuclear codes. It's another thing when that person has the power of the presidency in the palm of his hand. And nobody in Washington, for the most part, seems particularly alarmed by that. Nobody in Donald Trump's administration seems at least publicly alarmed by that. And that's the real problem here. Because Trump is posting these memes, and yes, it's offensive to me, a Catholic. It's offensive to Christians all around the country, all around the world. But more importantly, it demonstrates that he is unfit for the job. And he was unfit for the job before. And it's coming at a time when the American people are desperate for some kind of salvation and support from their government. The economy is fundamentally broken. It was broken before Trump took office. It's broken now. We're engaged in this war that's driving prices up on everything while getting American military service members killed. And what's really happening in Washington right now? The greatest transfer of wealth from the poor and the working class to the wealthy. That's what's really happening. It's all that corruption, and that's why they won't remove him. He won't be removed by the 25th Amendment because Howard Lutnick and Scott Bessent and J.D. Vance and the rest of them, they're profiteering off of an old man who is not right in the head, who is saying and doing crazy things and distracting us from the real theft in the United States. So I appreciate Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking out on this. I appreciate the comments that she's making. I appreciate and respect Tucker Carlson and some of the others who are saying this too, but they're the ones who got us into this mess. They installed for their own political benefit an old dementia-riddled man, and now it's no longer convenient for them. But we're stuck with him for another 2.5 years plus. as he steals and grifts, and his family steals and grifts, and everybody around him steals from the American people. And right now, there's no mechanism for us to be able to solve this. And one of the things I think we have to do is when Democrats get back in power, we have to reform seriously the way that we can remove the president of the United States. Because imagine if we had a national referendum in this country where the American people could rise up and say, the president of the United States is unfit and we want him to be removed. You can do that in states all across the country to remove your governor. It's happened in California. It's happened in Wisconsin. We need to put power back in the hands of the people, because I don't believe that corrupt cabinet officials and terrified Republican congressmen are going to remove Donald Trump. The power should be in our hands. It's our country and it's our democracy, and we should have the ability to remove Donald Trump, not them. Period. And if you're with me, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you engage with this video, like, share, comment, hype, whatever you do. It's very helpful to juice the algorithm so more people see it and we get a chance to grow. We're close to 100,000 subscribers. I think we're going to get there this week, which I'm really proud of in basically less than 100 days. And make sure that you do me a favor and hit that little bell icon, because I don't want you to miss the next video because the algorithm doesn't serve it to you. Thank you.